Okay, so my name is Garth Mathieson, and my colleague over here is John Robson. And tonight we are going to present, this afternoon we're going to present to you the case against the long-term plan. Now the introduction, what we will be talking about. I will be talking about the evidence that shows that the commissioners have been working in the interest of a small group of people, not the general public. I'm talking about the works program that eventually evolved into a key component of the Tauranga City Council's long-term plan. I'll talk about the origin of the works program. The origin is important because it will assist you in understanding who the commissioners have been working for. And I'll make this point at the start. I want you to understand at the outset that the general public are the victims of the commission. We'll look at why the commissioners were appointed. In particular, we will look at the democracy issue, why the commissioners and their supporters, and it's a small group, requested that the 2022 Tauranga City Council election be cancelled. Who are they working for and what they want? When I finish this part, set the background, John is then going to talk to you about the cost of the long-term plan and what it means to you. Some of those figures were given in the ads in the newspaper. Okay, the genesis of the works program was set out in a Bay of Plenty Times newspaper article on June 6, 2015, when an amenities group, a group calling itself an amenities group, announced that they were going to redevelop the CBD. And this amenities group consisted of prominent business people in this city. I'll just show you the newspaper article. I'm going to now show you the important points of that article. Now the Civic Amenities Group was led by Paul Adams, a prominent developer in the city. Membership of the Civic Amenities Group included Tom Roper of Zareba Holdings, Neil Craig of Craig's Investment Partners, Peter Farmer of Farmer Muda Group, Bill Holland of Holland Beckett, Graham Horsley of Vital Healthcare Properties, Richard Cashmore of Realty Services, Eves and Bailey's Real Estate, and Michael Smith of Quayside Holdings, Port of Tauranga. Now what they wanted to do is to redevelop the CBD with sports, arts, cultural amenities and general downtown development, pretty much what is happening now. Right, interestingly enough, the projects included a museum and a 15,000 seat stadium at the Domain. Again, that's now on the long-term plan. That's part of the works program that became a key component of the long-term plan. The newspaper article says, and I quote, "The group's plan will not force an increase in rates. Alternative funding was to be from government and corporate grants, trust allocations, private bequests, public-private partnerships, and civic bond issues." So we have to ask this question, what happened? Where is that money? Another article appeared later in the year on the 15th September. Interestingly, the first article was on D-Day and the second article was on Battle of Britain Day. For those of you who don't know, I'm a Lieutenant Commander in the New Zealand, Royal New Zealand Navy Volunteer Reserve. So I take note of all those dates. Now the group's chairman, Paul Adams, he advised the Bay of Plenty that the group had presented a package to the council, including the development of the stadium with a capacity of about 15,000. As he said, and I quote, "The Civic Amenities Group has presented a proposal to the elected members and is looking forward to working collaboratively with Tauranga City Council on further costing, then developing, funding and construction of a boutique stadium." I always wondered where that word boutique stadium came from in the case studies, but there it goes, right back to 2015. Now, the initial estimated cost of the stadium was 25 million. The cost now is 280 million. Not taken up by the council. Now, despite Anne Tolley's consistent criticism of past councils, from what we're going to say today, I say that the past council showed considerably good sense not doing this. Okay, why were the commissions appointed? Well, I'm going to run through this briefly. It's not particularly important what I have to say, but just for the purpose of chronology. Now, we had the 2019 election. That followed in 2020 with multiple code of conduct complaints, and it was the council itself that asked and appointed for a review and observer team to report on the problems that the council had. And the council was found to be dysfunctional, and the reason for that is that there was a breakdown in key relationships between the mayor and council and councillors and other councillors. But of course that only begs the question as to why was there a breakdown in key relationships. Now when you read the report, it's one of those reports which when I read it, I didn't think it really came to the correct conclusion, in my opinion. I believe, this is my opinion, and as I say, it's not really important because that particular council wasn't in office very long, is what I can say. But I find that the answer is because the majority of councillors did not agree with the work program. Key word to remember as we go through this. Then on the 16th of November of 2020, the Observer team, they recommended the Minister of Local Government appoint a Crown Observer to assist the council. And then for some reason, 2 weeks later, the same Observer team announced that it had changed its mind and recommended the commissioners be appointed. Now the 4 Tauranga City Council commissioners were appointed on the 5th of February to govern Tauranga, and this is very important from what I'm going to say shortly. From 9 February 2021 until local government elections in October 2022, and that was all gazetted. Among the things they had to do was develop a long-term plan, which eventually would have as a key component the works program. Develop an exit plan, and the exit plan did include the works program. Interesting enough too, the exit plan is the first document that I know of, first official document I know of, where the commissioners actually requested the cancellation of the 2022 election and the extension of their term and through to October 2023, or that was later changed to, or later became July 2024. Now, as you know by now, the commissioners had supporters. Not a lot, but they had supporters. And the problem with in the minds of the supporters, and this will become in the minds of the commissioners, we'll start to go through the documents later on and I'll show you them, is that time was a problem. There was not enough time by October 2022, when the next election was to occur, for the works program to be done, or even get the long-term plan for that matter, or sufficiently advanced that it became a fait accompli. So, we have people asking for an extension of the commissioners' terms, and which means the cancellation of the elections, of course, for, in some cases, 3 years. I'm going to go through some of these documents that I've got here shortly. I'll just explain them. I have obtained, through Official Information Act requests and the intervention of the Ombudsman, quite a number of documents. But for me, I had a cut-off point as to when the documents are that are what I think are relevant and instrumental to the Minister's decision to appoint the commissioners for an extended term. So, we've got people who want the term extended. Who are they? Well, on the 12th of September 2021, 2 unknown individuals wrote to the Minister of Local Government asking for the commissioners' terms to be extended and the election cancelled. Now, I don't know who those 2 individuals are, and despite backwards and forwards submissions with the Ombudsman, he refuses to give them to me because he says their privacy outweighs your public right to know who was instrumental in cancelling that election. I disagree with that entirely. Particularly as the Privacy Commissioner ruled that these people only had a moderate right to privacy. So anyway, so then on the 1st of October 2021, the New Zealand Property Council wrote to the Minister of Local Government and asked for the election to be cancelled and the term of the commissioners extended. Now we're going to look very shortly at that. That's an important letter. Significant is that Scott Adams, who is the General Manager and Director of Caris Corporation, and also the President of the Urban Task Force, and a member of the Central Committee of New Zealand Property Council, which was mentioned in that letter, he was significant in getting that Property Council to do that, or at least I believe he did. And then on the 4th of October 2021, the Urban Task Force wrote to the Minister. Scott Adams was the author of the letter to the President of the Urban Task Force. And for those of you who don't know, Scott Adams is the son of Paul Adams. Then on the 17th of November 2021, Ngā Pōtikia Kamapahore Trust wrote to the Minister again, asking for the election to be cancelled and the term of the Commissioners extended. At this particular point of time, the exit plan hadn't even been prepared by the Commissioners. You can recall the date, I said the 25th of November. Hadn't been done by then. These people are writing, wanting the cancellation of an election. Then on the 6th of December, another unknown individual wrote to the Minister. 7th of December, Social Link wrote to the Minister. 8th of December, Mary Dillon, a former councillor, former Deputy Mayor, wrote to the Minister. And all these people are asking for the same thing, for the election to be cancelled and the Commissioner's term to be extended. Now, I want you to remember before we start looking at these documents, these people and organisations are writing to the Minister of Local Government asking for your right to vote in an election to be cancelled and the term of the Commission extended so that they can ram through a works program that they want you to pay for. I think it's appalling. They don't show you any respect, any of it. They just want your money, but they don't want your input, and they certainly don't want you having a say. Now we're going to have a look at the letters I've said, so you just know that I haven't made all this up. So here's the Property Council letter. I've taken an excerpt out and we can put up on the screen in a moment before. I intend to read that out. But you'll see the letters dated 1 October, signed at the bottom, New Zealand Property. New Zealand, sorry. Start again. 1st of October, New Zealand Property Council top, signed at the bottom. So what does this letter say? I want to read this out just because for those of you who may not be able to see the screen clearly. The timing of the appointment prior to the long-term 2021-2031 was particularly crucial as Tauranga City Council had to address substantial infrastructure and funding challenges. However, we are concerned that the Council will return to an elected membership in October 2022. There is a risk that the public will prematurely install elected members once again unable to navigate the intricacies of decades of local underinvestment, thereby likely undoing all the Commissioner's good work to date. So that's an opinion, and I'll talk about that later. Now, given all the great work and the progress that has been made to date by the Commissioners, that's debatable, we ask you to reappoint the current Commissioners beyond October 2022 for another 3-year term. And this time it is expected long-term planned infrastructure projects, that the Papa multimodal corridor will be well under development. It will help ensure that Tauranga residents are more attuned to the citywide benefits that come with investment in infrastructure and growth. In the meantime, Property Council is committed to the betterment of Tauranga and the Western Bay sub-region and will continue to advocate for growth-related property activity. Now, frankly, I find this, as I said, appalling. These people have shown no respect to any of you. They are asking for your right to be voted to be cancelled. I mean, who are they? The only connection they have with this place is Scott Adams, who was on their Central Committee.
Who signed it?
Property is signed by 2 people, but it's redacted. That particular letter is redacted at the bottom. I'm not sure of the name, but the signatures are there. I do actually have the Minister's reply that has a name. If you want to email me, I'll tell you what that is. But anyway, it is from that organisation. And now we go to the Urban Task Force letter. Now, I'm going to take extract out of this and read that to you as well. As you'll see, it's from the Urban Task Force, addressed to the Honourable Ngāne Mahuta, signed by Scott Adams at the bottom, President, Urban Task Force, Tauranga. See at the top there, it says that the Urban Task Force advocates on behalf of the local property industry in the Bay of Plenty region. Let's have a look at what the significant parts of this particular letter are, and I will read these out to you as well. Firstly, we would like to commend you and Cabinet on your decision to appoint commissioners. ... That's the first paragraph. The timing of this appointment was critical with respect to the 2021-2031 long-term plan. This is arguably Tauranga City Council's most important LTP ever, with a complex and challenging decisions to be made on housing, infrastructure, civic amenity and social funding. The Urban Task Force is highly concerned about the pending Commissioner's transition strategy. We believe there is significant risk that the local body elections in October 2022 would see a quorum of the same ex-councillors re-elected. Goodness me. This group of ex-councillors has continued decades of poor governance, resulting in chronic underinvestment. We understand that they have strategies to reverse the decisions made by the Commissioners, rate freezes across their 2022-2024 term. It is our view that Commissioners need to be reappointed beyond October of 2022 and for a full 3-year term. During this term, it is expected that the long-term infrastructure projects, such as the Papa, a multi-modal corridor, together with the opening of land tracks complete with required trunk infrastructure, will be prevalent in Tauranga, and residents will be more attuned to the citywide benefits derived from infrastructure investment at this more strategic level. Now, when I read this letter, obviously it's pretty much the same as the property council one, but it's also very similar to what Anne Polly often says. She often says very, very similar things. We had to do this. But we had to do it because the council has underinvested in the city here for decades. I actually think that's false. But you know, if you look at some of the investment, they built the Takatimu Drive, they built Fruit Cave, they built what else have they got? They've got the best drinking water in the country. They didn't do nothing. That's just not right. And in fact, I'll speak more fully of that at the end. Now, the other thing is, it's this for contempt for the general public, saying you people are too dumb to know what you want, and he knows best for you. That's exactly what the letter says. That's exactly what Anne Polly says, and that's exactly what New Zealand Property Council says, and that's exactly what all the people who are involved in this say. Okay. Then we have another letter. Ngā Pōtiki Tamapahori Trust. Same thing, I'm not going to read this out. Cancel the election, extend the term of the commissioners. Oh, sorry. And then we've got another one there. And then we've got Mary Dillon's letter. And she's doing the same thing. And then Social Link. The Social Link was some organisation, I can't imagine why on earth they did this, except they must have been told to do it. Now all of these letters occurred before the 31st of December, very important date. Why? Because that's when the quarterly report was given by the commissioners. And that quarterly report says and asks for their term to be extended through to October of 2023. Okay. You'll note at this particular point in time there was nobody objecting to the commissioners asking for an extension of their term and the cancellation of your right to vote. Nobody. Not the 31st of December because nobody knew about it. And yet we have these 8 people writing in, asking for something that's, you know, for me, from way out of left field. I wouldn't even thought of doing it. I don't imagine anybody else would have either. And we've had 8 people doing it. The objections didn't really start till about February, I think the 8th of February. I think it's the first ones I've got all those as well. And that, of course, is when it started to become public knowledge, what the commissioners had asked and what was going on behind the backs of the public here. Okay, so we've got this all going on. What happened next? Oh, I have to mention this. Now, as some of you follow the paper, if you read the paper, you will know that the Department of Internal Affairs had to apologise to me for lying to me. They told, because the Ombudsman asked them to. They told more lies than the ones he just asked me to do. But in his letter to me on the 11th of July, he said, he noted that the Department of Internal Affairs said that there were some meetings, I call them secret meetings, secret meetings held between the government and business and iwi leaders. But there were allegedly no records kept as to who attended. Now, the Ombudsman said to me that he accepted that position, but I don't accept it. Who doesn't have records of meetings they attend, particularly meetings to discuss cancelling an election? Who does that? No, I don't agree with the Ombudsman about that. It's another thing I didn't agree with him about. I am grateful for what he did order me to give, what he ordered the department to give me, but I am also disappointed in what he did not. As I've stated, there were no objections to cancelling the 2022 election sent to the Minister for Local Government because the public did not know what was going on behind their backs until the end of the first week of February 22. Now, this is when we're talking about this report of 31 December. That's when the commissioners asked for the election. They call it delayed. The election was never delayed. When we go back to the normal cycle of elections with the rest of the country in 1938, we will have always missed one election. We've had one election cancelled. That will never change. And as I've stated, the public, when they found out about it, they started to object to the election and their vote being taken away. So let's just have a look at what the commissioners said in their public report. And I do this, and I'll read it out because I think it's important that you start to draw how the unity there is between Scott Adams and his organisation and the commissioners. Now, starting in paragraph 2. Concerns continue to be raised with us through our community engagement activities about the possibility that dysfunctional governance could again impact the future effectiveness of an elected council. We have assessed the perceived risk of that scenario to council's work programme. That's the work programme. As defined through the 2021-31 long-term plan. Activities and capabilities, and we believe the risks involved can best be managed by delaying the city's local government elections by 1 year until October of 2023 and appointing a Crown manager to oversee council governance through until the next scheduled local government elections in 2025. Such an approach would allow the significant work programme required to address the city's growth issues and infrastructure and community facility deficits, and the funding and financing arrangements required to support them to be further progress. A Crown manager would also give the community assurance that the decisions they have supported through the last long-term plan, the community didn't, the commissioners did, not the community. The last LTP process could be readily reversed by a factionalised elected council. We await ... your guidance. Okay, and so the next chronology that happened, well, the election got cancelled. And the commissioners were reappointed by Gazette notice through to July 2024, and that's the election we're having now. This cancellation, the 2022 election, was done with without prior notice to the city, without any consultation to them, except their small select elite group they're mixed with, well, that's what was done. Now, our right to vote was cancelled. We still have to pay for the work program the commissioners and a very small group of supporters want. You've got to pay, but no say. And that's simply taxation without any representation at all. Now, all the documents I put up, this excerpt is one of the most important because it draws, well, they're probably the most important, it draws together the letters from the different individuals and organisations and also the commissioners, draws them all together. Now, and this is taken from the Cabinet briefing papers from the Department of Internal Affairs for Ngāne Mahuta, and it's dated 11 February 2022, a month before she came here to make the public of the cancellation of the election appointment, the extension of the Commission's terms. And we'll read it. The Commission has analysed its achievements. I believe there is a real risk that the work program may be undermined by the return of elected councillors who have historically tended to support conservative rate increases, leading to an inability to fund growth. In particular, the Commission believes that under a return to elected democracy, a change in strategic direction may jeopardise relationships the Commission has established with public and private funding contributors. This would result in an inability to deliver on planned projects both within Tauranga City and across the wider region. The department also notes further intervention through the retention of a commissioner strongly supported by local iwi and business leaders within the Tauranga region. Well, by my count, the documents I've got there, that's 2 people, Scott Adams and Peter Stokes. The department is aware of a number of ministerials from members of the Tauranga community noting their support for the decision to appoint commissioners and requesting that commissioners retained at the council beyond October 2022. Anecdotally, the department has also received positive feedback from other individuals such as the Bay of Plenty Regional Council staff and private individuals in the Tauranga community. They come straight out of those cabinet briefing document, and that's the reason. It's the same reason that Scott Adams has, same reason that Anne Tolley and co. Kieran McAnulty, he was here in May of 2023, said to Sun Live, and I quote, "The decision to appoint the Commission until July of 2024 was made following careful consideration of the Commission's exit plan. Feedback from business and community leaders, ... I want to conclude, so we're clear. The Works Program, back in 2015, evolved, and it has become the key, the key component of the Council's long-term plan. The 2022 election was cancelled, and your right to vote denied, so a few people could have their way and ran through a Works Program which you have to pay for. Now the evidence clearly shows that Anne Tolley and the commissioners have been working for Scott Adams and the Urban Task Force, not you. As I said before, they have no respect for you, they just need you to pay. 19 April 2024, the Bay of Plenty Times reported Scott Adams saying that the Urban Task Force supported the Commissioner's secret request for the Minister of Local Government to appoint a Crown Manager to oversee the new council elected in 2024. Mr Adams was quoted as saying it was critical, and I quote, "Voters learn from mistakes and vote in the right people." He's telling you who to vote for, or else. Unbelievable. In New Zealand, it is absolutely unbelievable. Now, how can you help yourself? Well, it's up to you, of course, I'm not going to tell you who to vote for, but we, John and I, believe very strongly that you need to vote for people who are going to repeal and replace the long-term plan. He's going to go over the finances of it soon, and we're going to end up bankrupting the city if we don't do that. Now, if the long plan is not repealed or replaced, the Works Program cancelled as much as possible. It's also going to become a bottomless pit. Hundreds of millions of dollars are being wasted on the Te Peninsula because the problem there was wrongly analysed by the Commissioner. The Anne Tolley has brought into this argument, and it was in those documents I read out, Scott Adams and others, the previous council underestimated this problem, and that's why the CBD in the city went bust. But that's not true at all. The reason it went bust is because there's no demand for a large CBD anymore. When I was a law clerk in 1985 in Auckland, I was sent one day to do a settlement. I went along, I had to take the bank check. I took it to the other lawyer, he gave me the documents. Point being, we did that manually. Today, it's all done electronically. When I started my law firm 31 years ago, I had to go to the bank every day. Times I go to the bank now, it'll be a handful in a year. It's all done electronically. Meetings are done electronically. Documents are signed electronically. In fact, COVID, all documents are signed electronically. We've taken a little bit of a step back for that, I don't know why. So it'll all be done electronically. The point is there's no need to group everybody in business and retail in one place. Then you've also got the shopping centres. Bayfair, across it, back a mile, all over the place. People aren't going to go back into the CBD shop as it was when I came here 38 years ago. So what I'm saying is that there's no demand for what they're actually creating there. And when it fails, they're just going to put more and more money into it, be a bottomless pit, and the effect on the rest of the wards in the city is that money is getting sucked out to satisfy the Urban Task Force's desire for a new big CBD. And of course you people are paying for the parts and make no money. And Mr Adams' company, Caris Corporation, along with Keith Side Holdings and another developer, are developing the car park that one of them bought for $1 off the council, opposite the new council, where the new council building is, and they say they're doing something to make money out of it. But the parts that you're going to pay and the parts they want you to pay without them giving you a vote, doesn't make any money at all. So it really doesn't matter how much money is poured in there. Nothing. It's just a complete waste of money, in my opinion. All right. I couldn't really finish. The end. Well, here's the end of me. Now comes the best part. John's going to tell you, and he is an absolute expert in this. He's going to tell you all about the financial costs of this. So, John, hand over. Ladies and gentlemen, just give us a few minutes to swap over, and then John will.